Episode 8, The Last Transmission. A dying planet sent one last message, and it was addressed to Earth. Part 1, The Signal. The silence of space broke on a Tuesday. Dr. Maya Chen wasn't supposed to be at the Arecibo relay station that night. She'd traded shifts with Rodriguez because her daughter had a school play. But kids get sick, plays get canceled, and fate has a twisted sense of humor. The signal came through at 2:47 a.m. Not the usual cosmic background radiation, not the predictable pulsar rhythms that had become white noise to her trained ears. This was different. This was structured. Maya's coffee went cold as she watched the waveforms dance across her screen, patterns within patterns, mathematical sequences that shouldn't exist naturally. And then, impossibly, the signal began to organize itself into something resembling language. Her hands shook as she reached for the phone. "We're receiving something," she whispered to Director Sato, "and it's repeating, every 12 minutes like clockwork." "Source?" Sato's voice was sharp, alert despite the hour. Maya checked the coordinates again, triple-checked. Her stomach dropped. "Kepler 442b, the Goldilocks planet we've been monitoring for 15 years. "That's impossible. It's 1,200 light-years away." "I know what the coordinates say, Director." The line went silent. When Sato spoke again, his voice carried a weight Maya had never heard before. "Don't touch anything. Don't tell anyone. I'm activating Protocol 7. Maya had been with SETI for 9 years. She'd never even heard of Protocol 7. The signal pulsed again, 12 minutes, like a cosmic heartbeat. Like a countdown. Part 2, Decryption. The room was called the Vault, and Maya had passed it 1,000 times without knowing what lay behind its reinforced steel door. Now she sat inside with 7 other people, the best minds in xenolinguistics, cryptography, and theoretical physics. The signal played on loop, filling the space with its alien rhythm. Dr. James Morrison, MIT's leading xenolinguist, looked like he'd seen a ghost. "It's using prime numbers as a Rosetta Stone," he said, his voice barely audible. "They're establishing a mathematical baseline, then building linguistic structures on top of it." "How long to decode?" Sato demanded. "It's already happening. The message is teaching us how to read it." Maya felt her skin prickle. Whoever sent this had anticipated everything. They'd built a message that could decode itself, that could bridge the gap between utterly alien minds. The question was, why? Dr. Sarah Kim, the team's astrophysicist, pulled up spectral analysis data. "There's something else. The signal's Doppler shift indicates it was transmitted exactly 1,200 years ago. It's been traveling through space since the year 825 AD. "So they sent it knowing we wouldn't receive it for over a millennium," Morrison said slowly. "They were planning ahead, way ahead." The computer chirped. First words appeared on screen. "We are dying." The room fell silent. Maya watched as more words materialized, each one emerging from the mathematical framework like a terrible flower blooming. "We are the ARCHITCTS. We built the gates. We seeded the stars." "Jesus Christ," someone whispered. "We made a mistake." The signal pulsed again. Morrison's hands flew across his keyboard. "There's more. It's not just a message, it's a package. There are layers, schematics, coordinates," and his face went pale. "And a warning." The screen filled with alien script that the program was still translating. Maya read the emerging words with mounting dread. "They are coming. They follow our trail. They consume. THEY adapt. They never stop. We hope to give you time. We failed. They know about you now." Part 3, the ARCHITCTS. The package took 3 days to fully decrypt. 3 days during which Maya barely slept, surviving on coffee and adrenaline, and the creeping certainty that the world was about to change forever. The architects, they learned, had been ancient when humans were still painting on cave walls. They'd mastered faster-than-light travel through something they called fold space, manipulating the fabric of reality itself to step between stars like crossing a room. They'd found hundreds of worlds with primitive life, and they'd made a choice that echoed across millennia. They'd helped. Gene optimization protocols, Dr. Kim read from the translated data. They accelerated evolution on dozens of planets, gave emerging species a push toward intelligence, toward civilization. They played God, Sato said quietly. They tried to fill the universe with allies, Morrison corrected, because they knew what was out there, in the dark, waiting. The Devourers. That's what the architects called them, though the actual translation made Maya's head hurt. It was a concept more than a word, carrying meanings of hunger and patience and inexorable consumption. The architects had encountered them 2,000 years ago. They'd fought. They'd lost worlds. And in their desperation, they'd made a choice that doomed them. They tried to collapse their own fold space network to trap the Devourers. It had worked partially. The Devourers were sealed away in a pocket of twisted space-time, but the network collapse had catastrophically destabilized Kepler 442b. The planet was dying, the architects with it. And in their final decades, they'd sent out messages, warnings, to all the species they'd helped, all their children scattered across the stars. Earth was one of 27. There's a schematic here, Morrison said, pulling up complex three-dimensional diagrams. Instructions for building a fold space detector. They want us to know when the seal breaks. When, Maya asked, not if. Morrison's expression was grim. The message is 1,200 years old, remember. According to their calculations, the seal should have failed. He checked the timeline again. 3 weeks ago. The room went very quiet. So they're already out, Sarah Kim whispered, and they're following the architect's trail. To every world they ever touched, Sato finished, including Earth. Maya looked at the star map on the screen. 27 worlds, 27 civilizations that the architects had helped emerge, 27 targets. There's more, Morrison said. He pulled up another section of the message. Defensive protocols. The architects developed weapons, strategies. They're sharing everything they learned. Did any of it work? Someone asked. The silence that followed was answer enough. Part 4, the choice. The president sat in the situation room, surrounded by military brass and cabinet members. Maya stood at the presentation screen, feeling absurdly out of place in her rumpled lab coat. Let me get this straight, General Patterson said, his voice tight with skepticism. Aliens we've never met uplifted humanity thousands of years ago. Now different aliens are coming to wipe us out, and our defense is a crash course education from a dead civilization. That's essentially correct, sir, Maya replied. This is insane. Insane or not, the signal is real, Sato interjected, and we've confirmed the physics. The fold space technology works in theory. The architect's models are mathematically sound. The president rubbed her temples. How long do we have? Sarah Kim stepped forward. The Devourers move between systems methodically. Based on the architect's data, they'll clear each world before moving to the next, assuming they started with the closest system to their prison. She pulled up calculations. 18 months, maybe less if they've improved their technology. And what can we do in 18 months? Morrison cleared his throat. The architects included blueprints for a defense grid, fold space disruptors that can detect and potentially block their arrival. The technology is advanced, but it's buildable with our current industrial capacity. Potentially, Patterson jumped on the word. Either it works or it doesn't. The architects never successfully deployed a full grid, Morrison admitted. They were overwhelmed before they could complete it, but the theory is sound. The president looked at Maya. Dr. Chen, You've been living with this data for a week. What do you believe? Maya thought about her daughter, about the school play she'd missed, about all the ordinary moments that suddenly felt precious and fragile. I believe the architects were desperate, she said slowly. Desperate enough to reach across space and time to warn us. Desperate enough to give us weapons they knew might not be enough. She met the president's eyes. But they gave us a chance. That's more than the other 26 civilizations might have. The other civilizations, the president said, we should contact them. We've been trying, Sato replied. No responses yet. Either they haven't decoded their messages or he didn't finish. Or they were already gone. The president stood. Draft an executive order, full mobilization. I want the best engineers, physicists, and manufacturers working on this grid, and I want it done quietly. If the public learns about this before we're ready, it'll be chaos. Madam President, Maya said, with respect, the architects shared this information with us freely. Maybe we should do the same. Maybe humanity deserves to know. The room erupted in debate. In the chaos, Maya's phone buzzed, a message from the vault. Second transmission received. You need to see this. Part 5, the truth. The second signal was shorter, sharper, and it wasn't from the architects. Maya stood in the vault as the translated message scrolled across screens. Communication intercepted. Source identified. DESIGNATED-4 collection. Estimate arrival, 411 Earth days. Resistance is mathematical impossibility. Surrender PROTOCO less available upon request. You were well made, architect children. You will serve well. Morrison's voice shook as he read the signature data. It's coming from the direction of Kepler 452b. That was architect world number 7 on their list. Past tense, Maya asked, though she already knew. Based on the architect's timeline, that civilization should have had 3,000 years more advanced than us. Sarah Kim pulled up what little they knew about Kepler 452b's recipients, a species the architects had called the harmonists, if the devourers reached them first. The implications hung heavy. Wait, Morrison frowned at his screen. There's an embedded data packet hidden in the devourer transmission. His eyes went wide. It's from the harmonists, a piggyback message. The room held its breath as new text appeared. If you receive this, we are gone. The ARCHITCTS weapons failed. Their grid failed. 23 WORLDs have fallen. But we learned something. The DVOURERS adapt to technology. They consume and improve. Every weapon we used, they learned to counter. The only strategy that worked. They cannot adapt to what they cannot understand. Chaos, randomness, humanity. The ARCHITCTS made us orderly, logical, predictable. But you were touched lightly. You RETAINED, your chaos, your unpredictability, your beautiful violent randomness. This is your advantage. Use it. The message ended with coordinates and a data package, everything the harmonists had learned in their final days. Battle strategies, devourer weaknesses, and a final, desperate piece of advice. Do not build the grid. It is a trap. The DVOURERS expect it. Maya felt something shift in her chest. The architects had given them a roadmap. The harmonists had just told them to throw it away. She looked at Sato, at Morrison, at all the brilliant minds gathered in this room. Minds trained to find patterns, to seek order, to solve problems logically. We're approaching this all wrong, she said slowly. The architects gave us their playbook because it's all they knew, but we're not them. We're human. We're chaos engines. What are you suggesting? Sato asked. Maya pulled up Earth's history on screen. Wars, revolutions, art, jazz, guerrilla warfare, internet memes, the beautiful, terrifying, unpredictable mess of human civilization. The devourers adapt to patterns, she said. So we don't give them patterns. We don't build one defensive grid. We build 100 different contradictory defense systems. We don't develop one weapon. We develop 1,000, based on every weird, illogical human idea we can think of. Nuclear-powered railguns, someone suggested. Yes, and also trained falcons with laser designators, and AI systems programmed by toddlers, and whatever the hell else we can dream up. General Patterson actually smiled. You want to weaponize human creativity. I want to make ourselves impossible to predict, Maya said. The architects failed because they were too logical, too orderly. They built beautiful mathematical defenses, and the devourers dissected them like equations. She thought of her daughter, of her spontaneous joy, her illogical fears, her wild imagination. But you can't solve a finger painting, Maya continued. You can't decrypt a jazz solo. You can't predict what a human will do when they're scared and desperate and fighting for everything they love. Morrison was nodding slowly. The harmonists' final message. They said the devourers couldn't understand them once they abandoned logic. They gave us permission to be ourselves, Sarah Kim added, to use the very thing the architects tried to breed out of us. Sato looked at the timeline. 411 days. We'll need to tell the world. Yes, Maya agreed. And we'll need to ask them for something impossible, to be more human than we've ever been, more creative, more chaotic, more beautifully, dangerously unpredictable. The president's voice came through the speaker. Dr. Chen, are you seriously suggesting we defend Earth with organized chaos? Maya looked at the star map. 23 worlds fallen, 27 touched by the architects. Earth was one of the last. But Earth was different. Earth had jazz and graffiti and martial arts and memes. Earth had 7 billion humans, each one a unique, unpredictable variable. Yes, Madam President, Maya said. I'm suggesting we show the universe what humanity really means, and I don't think the devourers are ready for that. The second signal pulsed again. 13 months now until arrival. But for the first time since that Tuesday morning, Maya Chen smiled. The devourers were expecting architects. They were going to meet humans. And humans had been solving impossible problems with beautiful chaos since the dawn of time. The war for Earth wouldn't be won with mathematics. It would be won with humanity.